Enrollment in the nation's colleges has decreased in the millions over the last 5 years. That alone is concerning, but what's even more concerning is the gender disparity that we're seeing when it comes to college enrollment. So this is the largest female-male gender gap in education that the country's experienced in quite some time. So at the close of the 2020-2021 academic year, women made up nearly 60%. So 59.5% of college students, an all-time high, and men 40.5% according to enrollment data from the National Student Clearinghouse. US colleges and universities had 1.5 million fewer students compared with 5 years ago, and men accounted for 71% of the decline. So just to give you a few more stats before we open this up for conversation, the education gap, which is at both 2-year and 4-year colleges, has been slowly widening over the last 40 years. So women have outnumbered men on campuses since the late 1970s. The ratio of female to male undergraduates increased much more from 1970 to 1980 than from 1980 to the present. In 1992, 55% of college students were women. By 2019, that number had nudged up to 57.4%. And so, look, this was reported by the Wall Street Journal. I don't think that it's shocking that they didn't get into the cost of college and how it's discouraging people from going to college in the first place. But Woz, I wanted to get your thoughts on what factors you think might be leading to men, losing interest in enrolling to either 2-year or 4-year colleges?
I think it's definitely an economic factor in the sense that you think of something in the short term like Uber and Lyft drivers in the pandemic, right? Like seeing like, yo, I can do something else to get money. I think that's ultimately the deciding factor in a lot of people saying, I'm gonna skip college. Like there was a time where it felt like, or we were told that if you go to college, you get a degree, you get your master's, you do X, Y, and Z, you're guaranteed to get, a great job afterwards. That was sort of the dream that was promised to people of my generation. And I think people of the younger generations are seeing the sort of economic outcomes for people that go to college, and then they're not very impressed by it. And so they're like, yo, I'll figure out a different way to try to put some money in my pocket than spending 4 years at an academic institution and shelling out tens of thousands of dollars for the privilege of doing so, putting myself into debt, et cetera, et cetera. I think people are just coming up with different ways to try to get money.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And there are issues regarding gender in other areas of life, right? So for instance, I think women know that if they don't have a degree, they're at more of a disadvantage than men are if they don't have a degree, right? Like, and also, I'll just keep it real. I mean, this is based on my personal experience, but the reason why education was drilled into my head was because I think I was part of the last generation that had a stay-at-home mom, right? Who was really financially reliant or dependent on the man of the house. And so I guess the dream of independence was very common for me and women like me as we were growing up. And so getting that education, like there was no question about it. Like you have to do it. And it was like definitely encouraged, right? I think, but I do worry that, some of the encouragement, some of the attention has obviously shifted more toward encouraging women to enroll for college. And then, maybe some of the guys feel neglected, I don't know, are not getting the type of encouragement or the type of counseling that would help them go to college. But look, at the end of the day, the affordability issue is the biggest issue, if you ask me, right? Like you dig yourself into a massive hole to get an education at this point. The country's dealing with $1.6 trillion in student loan debt. And it's like, no, you gotta go to college, you'll earn more money. And it's like, yeah, but I'm gonna have to dig my own grave before I could find my way out of it through income. You get what I'm saying? Like it's actually hindered the economy quite a bit, this student loan debt.
Yeah, and you gotta understand, like, very few people are going to college to expand their mind intellectually, right? Like, I don't think that's what people, the proposition, a lot of people, the proposition was purely a financial one. It was the idea that I would set up myself after having completed this for a great career somewhere in a field that I think, is suitable to my own individual gifts and talents. And so if people are learning that they can get to those end ways without putting themselves in extreme debt, of course. And again, that's not to say that there aren't people who aren't interested in, the academic pursuits and learning from the great scholars of yore and doing all of that. And as a black person, I know a lot of people that wanted to go to HBCUs because they felt like it was the first time they were ever going to get a chance to, be in community with a bunch of black people who share the exact same pursuits and wants and aims as them, right? Like, it became a cultural experience to go to a black college. Like, I think those things still exist, but the main reason people go to college is because they think they're gonna get money out of it.
Totally, and look, let's go to the final graphic here. There are some economic upsides in having a college degree, of course, but it does also come along with debt for many people. College graduates earn, on average, 56% more than high school grads, a difference that amounts to more than $1 million over a working lifetime. Also, college grads, on average, are healthier, happier, have better marriages, and live longer too. I'm skeptical of that. I'm just keeping it real. Like, how much happier are you if you are drowning in student loan debt, right? Money issues happen to be like the top reason marriages fall apart. Like, I don't know if I buy that. It's just my opinion, okay? Economic downturns are less likely to turn into job loss, and that's true. I mean, we certainly saw that play out during the pandemic. So if you have a higher paying job that you typically would be able to get through your college degrees and stuff, you're less likely to be economically harmed by the coronavirus pandemic. But yeah, this whole thing about like, oh, you'll be healthier and happier and everything will be perfect. Like, no, there's a huge caveat to all of it that I think is just missing from the reporting here, and it's pretty pathetic. So, yeah.
And it's like, I know some pretty miserable college grads, y'all. Like, I don't know where they're getting this from.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.